Hey guys, check out my 100% electric Sprinter. This is a no propane build, and also it actually has no diesel. Yes, is a non-combustion Sprinter. And one of the cool things that I did on this is I put 1600 watts of solar on the roof, which I use obviously to charge my house batteries and all my house electrical, which includes heating, like cooking, hot water, um, all my electrical systems. But also what I can do is I can dump extra electricity into the van battery, and I can get something between 10 and 20 miles a day of charge. But today I actually want to talk about something else, and that is the insulation of this van. Anyone who knows anything about insulation when they're doing their van uses Thinsulate insulation. So that's obviously what I use as well. And most people, what they do is they insulate in the little nooks and crannies of the van. And then on top of the actual framing of the van, they'll put wood paneling. So essentially what you have is the outer metal skin, then you have a layer of Thinsulate insulation in the little nooks and crannies of the van, and then you have the inner paneling. I do that as well, but I actually one-up it by putting an additional layer, full end-to-end of Thinsulate insulation. So I haven't done it yet, I'll put insulation inside the little nooks and crannies of the van. But in addition to that, on top of that layer of insulation, which is in the nooks and crannies, I put a full end-to-end layer, and you can see it all here, it's hung up. And I'm gonna put another piece up in the top. The insulation is long enough, I can't do one full floor of ceiling, but end-to-end, this is all one full sheet of insulation. So on top of the insulation, which is in the nooks and crannies, there's a full end-to-end layer front to back, which has no thermal breaks on both walls and on the ceiling. And on the ceiling, you can see here, if you look behind, I have both little flaps of insulation which sit between the ribs of the van, like everyone does. But in addition to that, I have a full one long strip which covers the ribs of the van and sits between my inner ceiling and the van. Insulation is very important to me, and I'm purposely recording this video before I put the second wall panel, the second wall fabric on the driver's side wall, so that you can see this insulation. But in the future, I'm gonna have this nice finished fabric wall, and there's no wood, so this is both, it saves a lot of weight, and it gives this like nice soft fabric finish to the walls. I love the sophisticated multi-layer insulation that I'm putting in the rear of the van. If I don't cover the front and insulate the front area of the van, which has the huge windshield and the two drivers, the driver and passenger windows, all that insulation is irrelevant because all the heat will enter and exit, depending on if you're in hot weather or cold weather, through the front windshield. So what people generally do, and in addition, you obviously want a certain amount of privacy when you're in the van. So what a lot of people do is they buy blackout curtains, and then there are all sorts of like magnetic curtains which click into the windshield area and then into the driver and passenger front windows. But I came across these blackout curtains as well, which are both blackout, but also they have a thick layer of insulation in between. And they're by a company called VannCamp. I came across them on the internet, and I was searching for like a good solution for the heat transfer problem through the cab. And I just wanted to give an overview of how they look today and how they work. So they come, first of all, in these two nice stuff bags, just to keep them neat and organized. And then they have a couple of pretty awesome features, which I haven't seen on any other insulation, like blackout window shades for the cab of a cargo van, that I haven't seen any other companies do. Start with the side window covers. This is what they look like. They have little snaps to keep them neat and tidy when they're not in use. And then they have a couple cool features. First of all, you can see they're significantly thicker than just regular blackout shades. They have several layers in them, but one of the main layers is a piece of Thinsulate insulation, I would say. I don't know exactly what's in here, but they're insulated. And then around the edges, they have magnets, obviously. And then they have a couple of cool features. First of all, they have they fold vertically, which means that you can install them And then on the top, they have this nice bugs. It's a bug screen. It's essentially a wire mesh. And what you can do is you can install the window and then fold down one flap of the cover and crack your window and have a little bit of air. So that's one cool feature that I haven't seen on any other, I don't think I saw on any other ones. And also, just overall, the fit and finish is really nice. They're blackout, they're full blackout. This is actually, the interior is black, the exterior is gray. Some people do reflective interiors, which gives slightly reflective exteriors, which gives slightly better insulation properties, but also it will totally make your van just stand out. If a car drives towards you, then it'll reflect light directly into them. So it's a bit less stealthy. I like this as like a gray, which is a nice compromise between having a black exterior, which will absorb a lot of heat, and the silver or reflective exterior, which will reflect a lot of light back. So these are the side window covers, and then they also have a really big, this one is actually even better insulated. It's slightly thicker than the side windows, which makes sense, and it's good because the front windshield is at a slant. The side windows are perfectly vertical, so less heat transfer will come through there. But a lot of it, the majority of it, will come through the front windshield, and it's also just a huge window. So this one also is really nice. As you can tell, they're really thick. It's really thick. So that's a trade-off I'll happily make in order to get the added insulation. And they have these clicks, the little snappers to hold them together when they're not in use. And they look basically the same. They're similar. They have a little cutout for where the mirror goes. They're really solid. Like, they'll stand up. This is like, it has several thick layers of material, including a Thinsulate in here, I guess. Let me install them and I'll show you what an amazing job they do. First of all, blocking out light, which works both during the day and during the night. So during the night, oftentimes I'll have the light on in here and I don't want someone to know that I'm in my van. So I want to make sure that the window covers are completely blackout from the inside towards the out, as well as the other way around, from the outside towards the in during the day. If I want to have it quiet in here or shady or cooler, then I want to make sure that the light doesn't come in. So this is what they look like. And then just to accentuate just how blackout these are, and you just saw this is full day. Here's what happens when I turn out the lights of the van. So it just goes pitch black. And I could, yeah, actually this cover is actually broken. So yeah, even as is now, like, this is full daylight and we got a pitch black van. And then there is this with that feature that I told you about, where you can just like pull down one little bit and have a bug screen. So that's how this works. I can do it on both sides. And then I have I can crack the window and have some air while not letting in the bugs. And I'll turn the lights on just so you can see exactly what's happening again. So, I mean, it's hard to see, but there is a screen right here. And then you can crack the window, have some air at the same time. And then this also just kind of like proves that I didn't go into night time. So if I take these out, yeah, it's full daytime. So yeah, and then packing them away is, I mean, it's what you do when the opposite of taking them out. So I got these little snaps, just wrap them around. It's pretty quick. And then you can decide whether or not you want to use the stash box or not, the stash bag or not. But if you want to, it's just like another step to do. It'll like protect them a little bit more. It depends on the frequency of you using this. If every time you park you're snapping them on, then you probably aren't going to end up using the stash bag. But it does come with a nice stash bag. The stash bag, this is real time. It doesn't take too long to slide it in there. So that's kind of nice. It just gives them a little bit of added protection. And then if we go back to the front with these side things, oh, actually these are actually really warm. The outside of this is really warm. Yeah, so this is the screen. Here I am pulling it off. Yeah, so this is the screen. And actually, just so you, like, the outside of this is actually warm. So that means, that just shows how much this insulation is doing, because the windshield and the windows are just really, really hot right now. So that just kind of like shows how important it is to use insulated blinds and not just the regular blackout blinds that aren't insulated, because that heat or cold, if you're in the cold, if you're skiing or whatever, you have an adventure van, that's being conducted directly into your van. So yeah, definitely I would recommend going with insulated window covers. This is the other one. This is that little the bug screen, which I didn't see any other bug shade or window shade maker has on their window shades. So I think this is just like a cool and innovative little thing, and having a tiny little bit of air is definitely, if you crack the window, is definitely going to help if you put a vent fan or you run the AC. But these go, yeah, so these can go back into their little stash box as well. Again, it's pretty easy to do. The two side windows I would probably use the stash bag for, just because it's two of them. So this kind of like keeps them together, and it doesn't take that much time to put in and put out, as you can see. But the main windows, the windshield cover, I may not end up using the stash bag for, but either way, these are actually a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact. So this was just a little overview of my insulation strategy and how to supplement it with the important part of insulating the front cab using the insulated window shades. These are by VannCamp. They're one of the only insulated ones, or the only insulated ones. As you can see, I'm building the van in 80/20, and it's an electric Sprinter. If there's something that you're specifically interested in learning more about, drop in the comments what my next video should be, the topic of my next video.